With days to the inauguration of the 9th National Assembly, President Buhari's endorsed candidate as Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is facing a potential criminal charge. The coalition of united political parties has dragged him to court for alleged perjury. Now, after following a criminal summons, Gbajabiamila is expected to formally charged a day before the Assembly's inauguration. Good evening, I'm Rotimi Intro.
And I'm Susan Ilian. Newsnight Nigeria begins now.
Well, President Buhari advised them not to despair, but give hope to those under their leadership. The president applauded Nigerians for their support during the presidential elections, despite the antics of the opposition, and promised a better Nigeria during the second term. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also joined the president in appealing for unity. While the Nigerian leader reminded critics that his government would not condone rhetorics of division.
Hearing directly from the husband, what efforts are being made to overcome those challenges? Okay,
well, it's also possible that the pillow talk actually did occur, but maybe it's just a fallout. It didn't come out successfully, in there. But let's just look at the other actor who is in all of this. Yes, that's former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Is the former president playing the ostrich?
Obviously, obviously, lashing on to what the wife of the president has said.
Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu has reacted to criticism of President Buhari's trip to Saudi Arabia for a meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, IOC. The argument has been that as a secular country, Nigeria has no business identifying officially with any religion. For analysis, we turn to Arise News analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi. Dr. Sam, thank you very much for joining us. Very quickly, let's just do away with the Emirates debacle, or what's going on over there. Or, just some few weeks ago, the government actually moved very swiftly to divide the Emirates into 5. Which at the end whittled down the powers of the Emir of Kano, Sanusi. Now, the anti-corruption body in the States is now, recommending a suspension. How do you react to that?
I think it's you have to go back to the pattern. This is not the first case. Initially, like a year ago or so.
Do you think some governors in Nigeria, or maybe all of them, are overreaching their powers when you have enormous powers to determine who becomes the emir, the oba, or any traditional ruler in their own states? And at any point in time, if that person disagrees with them, then the person will be booted out.
I think it's incoherence in our constitutional order. First and foremost, we need to rethink the place of the traditional in the modern state.
All right, just in brief,
yeah.
The controversy going on in the APC between the former chairman and the chairman, the APC spokesperson came out and said, well, is really condoled in the past, all sorts of, indiscipline. Very quickly, in 10 seconds, just, I want your take on that.
Well, I think it's really a calamity at the time that the president wants to start a new government, that the question of the capacity of that party to manage itself is now in question.
You're watching Newsnight Nigeria here on the Rise News. I'm Rotimi Intro.
And I'm Susan Ilian in the Nigerian capital, Abuja.
Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Tijani Mohammed Bande, has emerged president of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. 5 years after the World Health Organization, WHO, gave Nigeria a clean bill of health after the Ebola crisis, the doctor who treated the country's first case of the deadly virus died from the disease herself and is credited with having curbed a wider spread of the Ebola virus. Is set to be inducted into the Nigerian Women Hall of Fame. Ferdinand Duroha reports.
Stella Ameyo Adedevo and 21 other Nigerian women who have excelled in their different spheres of endeavors.
We've now been joined by Arinze Orakwe, NAPTIP's Director of Public Enlightenment.
Director, we would like to know, how is this even a NAPTIP issue?
It is an active issue to the extent that the Violence Against Persons Act.
We also know that the CHOC took some certain actions by suspending the accuser. Oh, sorry, I mean the
suspect.
The suspect.
Yes.
You know, in the process.
No, after it had happened or before it had happened.
No, after it had happened.
So that's not our business. The fact that this man is going to be prosecuted for his crime against this child, and that's what's important here.
We've had, you know, this kind of cases in the past, and we still have maybe pockets of it that we don't know. It didn't come to the public. How do you, how would you let the people know that once there's this kind of case, NAPTI is always there, you know, to the rescue?
Beautiful. Now, you see, when the VAP Act came into existence, you know, the first thing we do with the support of some of our partners, including DFID.
Another thing that a lot of people would want NAPTIP to do is probably to take the enlightenment, you know, to religious gatherings, places like churches, mosques, not just even orphanages. You know, we've heard cases like that. In a way that, you know, people will be aware that we have a government agency that can actually act.
Yeah.
Mainly,
we've identified structures essentially in the faith-based organizations, the churches.
Now, there seems to be no end to the huge sums laundered from Nigeria by former head of state Sani Abacha. This time, the British Crown dependency of Jersey says it has seized £211 million, was said to have been laundered by the former head of state.